Welcome to the inaugural episode of Nerd Talk. Okay, we're going to take a little bit, wait for some people to get in. I had to check my Snapchat. Okay, I'm going to try to get on through a little bit. Thank you very much for anybody who's watching. This is the inaugural episode of Nerd Talk. It's live at the moment, but if you're watching it on demand and stuff, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to watch Nerd Talk with Aaron Stone. Now, talk about different stuff, okay? The latest, okay, I know the big craze at the moment is still Endgame. Let's get to Avengers Endgame. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I know certain people still haven't seen it. I've seen it 3 times. There are things that happen in that movie that upset a lot of people, but let's talk about that. The whole point in life is to take risks, right? Now, you take risks, and either they pay off or they don't. You're not going to make everybody happy, but the one thing it did was shock people. And that's what you want. You want to shock and surprise people. That is a whole game. If you don't surprise people, then there's no point in being in the business, you know? I mean, you got to get some good, you got to shock people. You got to be able to take that chance. If you're not willing to go there, then why do anything? Okay. Also, Endgame is the reason they call it Endgame. It's the ending of a generation or a milestone. I want to say the ending of an era. That's basically what it is. It's not that they're done making Avengers movies, because there's probably going to be more Avengers movies down the road. But with this cast, probably no. But it happens. Okay, now that I got Endgame out of the way, let's get that out of the way. Oh, and let's talk about something else. On to something. Wrestling. Now, I said nerd talk, okay? I believe wrestling to be part nerd-like, okay? Because wrestling fans have a tendency to be all nerd-like when it comes to wrestling, basically. The point being, the latest thing, for years, it's all been WWE, right? Yes, we've had different corporations like TNA, but they've never really stood as direct competition for WWE. The last big company that was a major threat to WWE was WCW. And then they went out of business because of horrible decision making, couldn't fill the seats. Ratings went down. They had no stories. They couldn't build any superstars. So, and the main things of the main crucial main crucial thing you want to get right in WWE and wrestling in general is create new stars. If you can't create new stars, then eventually you're just gonna flounder, basically. And that's what happened with WCW. Well, WWE decided to hire on their stars. And for years it worked, but eventually, and I'm a firm believer of this, if you don't have competition, you're also going to flounder. Competition is what gives you that drive. Okay, it gives you that drive to basically to keep going, to make yourself better, to give you that drive, you know. But basically now there's a company called AEW, and one thing I probably would have never done would be to have to have your pay-per-view, to have your first pay-per-view before you even have your TV deal set in something. Well, they had it set in something. They just didn't televise their first show. Okay? But they had a pay-per-view. Okay? A big gamble, especially when it's your first ever event and you're asking people to part with $50. That's a big risk. And you've got to be able to back up what you say. Cody Rhodes, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Kenny Omega, and Brandy Rhodes, they all laid claim that they were going to be the better, that they were going to have a great show. Okay, you were going to see new stuff. It was going to be less soap opera, more action. And in my opinion, they delivered on everything they said. They backed up every word they said. Was it a big gamble asking people to pay $50 for a pay-per-view before they even saw any bit of your product? Yeah, it was. But, you know, in my opinion, even though it was a little pricey asking people to part with $50 for your first ever show, I believe it was $50 well spent. Now, would I pay $50 every month by myself to see an event? No, I wouldn't. I just recently watched an interview Cody had where they asked him questions, a press conference, I guess you can call it, where they asked him questions. They asked him about the throne, okay? That if you watched Double or Nothing, you saw during Cody's entrance, he comes out with a robe around. He takes it off, and right on the up top of the entrance ramp, you see a throne with skulls around it. Cool ass throne, in my opinion. But there's a cross. There's a cross in there on the back of it. Well, he goes down to the ring. He pulls it. His wife hands him a sledgehammer. He walks back up the entrance ramp, and then he takes the sledgehammer and smashes the throne with it. It was a shot at at Triple H, point blank. Okay, and there's reasons. Let's go back. Okay, years ago, Cody was wrestling for WWE as Stardust. Okay, a gimmick he meant to be a joke, but in WWE, they kind of take your jokes as being serious. So you kind of have to watch what you say in WWE, especially people like Vince and Triple H. I mean, I like Triple H and I have no problem with him, but you know, your business is business. Um, so Triple H, I mean, Cody goes to Triple H. He tells them, they get first. Cody goes there with the idea of Stardust, and he's like, "Hey, how about we do this?" He was joking. They took him seriously, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be a great idea." I'm pretty sure that was Vince's idea to go along with it, and he later, and Cody, being the professional he is, he goes with it, and he plays the character for a bit. Okay, teamed up with his brother Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes, aka Dustin Runnels. Okay, um, and then later he goes to Triple H and he's like, "I really want out of this character. I'd like to be Cody again." Okay, well, Triple H takes out his phone, calls the people, and he's like, "Yeah, oh well, um, yeah, I hear Cody's been coming to y'all doing this, and I just want you to know, don't listen to another thing Cody says ever again." Hangs up, looks at Cody and tells him, "You should know your place and play your role and keep your mouth shut." Well, Cody decides to finish out his contract, leaves, because here's the thing: you work for WWE, they own you basically. They tell you how you should have your hair, oh, if you should be fat, if you should be muscular. That basically you have to, and there's reasons. Okay, see, when you sign a contract with WWE, they own you. Okay, they own every percent of you, down to from your hair down to your toes. You sign. Now, there's reasons. You have to run by if you can get a haircut or drastically change your look for reasons. They market with toys and shirts, okay? So before they get to, so you got to run by them if you can change your look, especially if it's drastic, before they make the toys. So so the toys will be somewhat accurate, okay, and they can sell. I mean, it's gonna be weird if they create a toy of you with like hair down to your back and you have a buzz cut. It's just not going to look right. Not that their toys ever look really accurate. I mean, some of the worst horrible toy making I've ever seen in my life. Now, back in the day when you had things like WCW, Ric Flair, it was simple. He had the yellow trunks, he had the blonde hair, his face looked like Ric Flair. They made toys back then that resembled the character more. Okay, the only way you can tell, oh, this character's Cesaro is because the trunk says Cesaro. Okay, but their shirts, they got to market the shirts, and your look has to be right on the shirt. Okay, so I understand that. Well, if you finish out your contract, you finish it out completely, you get royalties. So let's say you leave, okay, after your contract's up, and you're at a different company, and they sell a DVD on your character, you get royalties. Okay, every time they show a clip of you on a pay-per-view, like say a year ago, you get royalties. That's how it works in the business. Okay, well, that's why Cody left, finished out his contract and left, because now he gets royalties and stuff. But AEW, in my opinion, so that's why he smashed. That's why Cody smashed the throne. That's the story behind that. Well, along the way of AEW, we had Bret Hart showing up. Okay, Awesome Kong showed up, which was great. Tommy Dreamer was in the pre-show. Let's see. You had SoCal Uncensored. They were pretty good. You had the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. In my opinion, the tag teams stole the show. The women's and the men's tag teams stole the show. The thing that did take me by shock was the main event, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho wins the main event. Great match, in my opinion. And then who comes out through the fans? Jon Moxley. Now, for those who may not know who Jon Moxley is, he's Dean Ambrose from WWE. Well, he comes out and he dirty deeds Chris Jericho, dirty deeds the ref, dirty deeds, and then he tries to dirty deeds Kenny, and it turns into an all full-fledged brawl, which I can't wait to see how they build up that. Well, Jon Moxley left WWE because of creative writing, and I was listening to his podcast earlier, and he talked about how the creative process is garbage. It's just trash, okay? It's words written on a piece of paper that makes no sense. Now, let this sink in. WWE is a company that employs full-grown adult women and men, or at least their idea of adults, okay? Now, in process of all this, they have a creative writing team of not 1, not 2, not 10, not 20 people, but 40. 40 people are on a creative writing team for WWE. Now, in my opinion, I think that's too much. Well, if you put like 1 or 2 on different things, like you got 50 superstars, right? Main roster evens out to 50. Okay? If you put 1 person on each superstar, you still have 10 more superstars left. But the thing is, you'll have better storylines, okay? You'll have better ideas. Well, Moxley was talking on Talk is Jericho, and he's talking about how he's sitting there about the time where he had come to the decision that he was leaving WWE. Okay, and in my opinion, when you I draw the line at certain things, okay? If somebody had handed me a script that had said, you were going to talk bad about your best friend who has leukemia, I might quit. I probably would quit. But then again, I wouldn't get my royalties, okay? So, that's why I believe Jon Moxley is the ever constant professional, okay? For the fact being that he's a professional, okay? He goes and he did all the work. He knew that if he had quit, he wouldn't get his royalties. But if he finished out his contract, he would get his royalties. Well, he talks about to make a long story short, he talks about how the creative process is a mess, okay? And it didn't really build up a story or build up any characters, okay? They weren't adding a story or an angle. It was just leading nowhere. You know, it's horrible. So he left. Well, he shows up in AEW, and he surprised everyone. And he did his first promo recently, and it's great. Okay. Okay. Now, all wrestling aside, let's talk about other stuff, okay? Other nerd stuff. Dead by Daylight. Okay. Dead by Daylight. They just recently came out with the trailer, a reveal trailer for Ghostface for Dead by Daylight. I'm so excited, and I'll tell you why. I am a big horror buff. Okay, I love horror films. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, Halloween. Okay, masterpieces. Okay, well, done correctly, of course. I mean, you tend to make 15,000 sequels. You tend to water down the aspect of the movie and the whole general theme. It becomes a mess. It's kind of like the creative writing team for WWE. But I'm looking forward to Ghostface because Ghostface is, well, they've been talking, and most of Dead by Daylight is built up of characters who aren't licensed killers. Okay, let me tell you the concept of Dead by Daylight to begin with. It's quite simple. That is for the people who may have never played it. You pick your choice of survivors or killers. Okay, I think 5 people, if I'm correct, can play at a time. A killer and 4 people. Okay, 4 survivors and the killer. 5 people. Okay, most of the time, the killer, okay, is somebody random offline. You got a link to the killer, but you pick your character. Okay, the point is to escape. Okay, it's like an old-fashioned horror film. If you watch the old classic horror films, they never fought the villain. No, they hid and they escaped. Okay, well, that's the concept of Dead by Daylight. You don't get to fight. Okay, you have to find generators, get them activated, get all of them activated so you can activate the exit doors. Then you got to open the exit doors and escape. Pretty simple, right? No, it's not simple. It's actually quite complicated, but it's fun. Okay, that is a concept. Well, every once in a while they'll put the licensed killers. Now, licensed killers like Michael, Freddy, Leatherface. Those are all licensed characters, and you actually have to pay actual money to get them. Well, Ghostface is the next licensed killer. I'm going to have to pay money to get him, but I'm excited because I've been hoping they would add Ghostface. And they are. So that's good. And Dead by Daylight's having their 3-year anniversary thing. So should be interesting. Next on Nerd Talk. Hold on. I gotta check news feed, okay? Let me check my Instagram real quick. I'll be right with you. We're going 23 minutes strong, people. 23 minutes strong. Yeah, I'm telling you, I just saw by Instagram somebody just like my photos from like 2015. Jesus. That was a long time ago, people. That's back when I first got my Xbox One. And then Destiny. My uncle was dead that time. 2015. Oh well. You move on. Yeah. Nice. Mm. Yeah. So your name, some kid named Chase, please. Anyways, let me check my feed. Yeah, somebody mentioned me in the comment. Okay, now, no, that's right, newsfeed. Let's see. This is a segment of my show where I go into my newsfeed, nerd like stuff, and talk about what pops up. Okay, I may have that on every one, or maybe every other one. Okay. Mm. Okay. Let's talk. Black Widow. Okay. There we go. Black Widow. They are creating a Black Widow movie. It's now shooting. It just popped up on my newsfeed. Black Widow's now shooting. I'm kind of confused how that's going to work because I don't want to give anything away from Endgame, so I'm not going to do it. But there are things in there that's going to, unless they do it a certain way, it'll only work that way because then they won't have to explain a lot. But if they do it the way that some people want it done, it's going to take a lot of explaining on behalf of why is there a Black Widow movie when this happened, okay, or why has it taken you so long to make this movie? In my opinion, they should have made the Black Widow movie years ago. It's a shame to the character that, okay, so in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there are certain movies that were made before they led up to Avengers. Iron Man 2. Well, in Iron Man 2, Black Widow debuts, okay? Then, but before that, you had the Hulk movies, and each Hulk movie that they made had a different person playing Hulk, okay? So you had the two Hulk movies. You had Iron Man. You had Iron Man 2. And then along comes, I can't remember which one's going to, Captain America, okay? And then you had the Thor movie. Well, look, now you've had all these movies, and let's go ahead and make the first Avengers movie. So I understand you got to build up the characters, okay? Give them the solo movies, and then lump them into a movie with a group. But in my opinion, it's a shame and a travesty they haven't made that they didn't make a movie for two characters to begin with, and that was Hawkeye and Black Widow. Now, I'm not the world's biggest Hawkeye fan. He's cool, yeah, okay? My wife is a huge Hawkeye fan, okay? But now we get Black Widow and Hawkeye. So, no, we get Black Widow. I don't know about Hawkeye. Well, I do know about Hawkeye because Disney streaming services are going to come out with later this year. They're going to have a Hawkeye series. So there's that. But all of that's happening. But I'm stoked. I'm happy. It's about time Black Widow gets her own solo movie. Okay. Up news, Chris Hemsworth wants to come back and play Thor again. He wants to keep playing Thor. Beforehand, he wanted out. Now he wants back in. I'm hoping they bring him back because I hope they bring Chris Hemsworth back because I can't see anybody else playing Thor. Okay, I just can't. It's like I can't see anybody else playing Iron Man, but we're probably going to get somebody else. But there's that. I do want to say a lot of people put a lot of hard work into these movies, and I think there's a lot of people that get lost in the shuffle through all of it. And I want to go ahead and point out those people. Okay, we all know the actors. Okay, the actors are the ones that get a lot of the credit because they're seen on screen. Okay, followed next by directors because they directed the movie, and then producers. Okay, but I don't think the people that get the credit they deserve are people like the makeup people, wardrobe, camera people, okay, the lighting people. They should all get credit because everybody forgets when they see a movie and they see the actor, like, oh, yeah, he did so great. He did work hard. Yeah, he did. But he's not the only person that did that work. You have to take into account the camera people, the director, everybody had a helping hand. Okay, the script writers had a helping hand. I guess that goes with the producer. So, but it's a joint effort to make a movie, and I think people forget that at times, because they get so enamored by the actor and either how sucky they are. And here's the thing, and it goes back twofold. When an actor does a horrible job in a movie, who's the one that gets blamed? The actor, right? Let's go back, okay? No, I've said it before. I'll say it again. My wife's heard me say it repeatedly. She gets kind of tired of it. The Daredevil movie, probably, in my opinion, one of the worst movies ever made. Okay, and I'll tell you why. First, people blame just Ben Affleck, okay? That's not fair, okay? Ben Affleck even admitted he almost ruined Daredevil, okay? But it wasn't just his fault. You look into account the people who write the scripts, okay? They wrote the story, okay? Then it has to go here. Then the script has to be approved. Then after it gets approved, it comes here, okay? Amongst all of that, it's like writing a book. When the author writes a book, who do they send it into? The editor. Okay, the editor looks through the book and he goes, well, this word can't be put in here because it's too offensive. Well, this word was spelled wrong, and they mark out and they write under it notes and what needs to be improved. They send it back to the author. Okay, the author looks at it and then revises it again. Okay, then he sends it back to the editor. If the editor approves it, it then gets sent to the publishers. Okay, then the publishers have to publish the book. Okay, they put it onto paper, they get the hardback, they mess it in together. Oh, the book is made. Then they make, and then I'm guessing they go out, but all of these have to be made copies among copies because one script's only gonna work for one book. Okay, so there's that. Okay, it's a joint effort. It's the same with Hollywood. Okay, the guy who writes the script sends it to the next person. They either edit out and they mark out and they send it back to the person who wrote it. They have to revise it and then they send it back. When it gets approved, it gets sent to the director. And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. And then it gets sent to the actor and the actor has to read it, okay? Ben Affleck was not the only person who was to blame for that movie. I like to give Ben Affleck a lot of flack about that, but yeah, I even admit it wasn't just his fault. Okay, here's the other thing. It's different with movies, though, than books, okay? I'll tell you why. After they film the movie, they send it to the cutting room, okay? The people in the cutting room look over the movie repeatedly, and then they take what they don't like or what they don't think will fit into the movie, and they cut it. Hence, the cutting room. So they cut it, and then they send it back to the director. And if by some chance they didn't like it and they need to reshoot something, they call back in the actors that have to do the work again. Hence, reshoots from scenes. Okay? And then they send it back. And then they send it through the cutting room again. And then they cut them. And then they send it out. Well, here's the problem: that Daredevil, the movie, sucked because they probably cut out all the stuff that would make sense in the movie, and they left the horrible stuff. Okay, it's the same with X-Men Origins Wolverine. Horrible movie. Not saying Hugh Jackman did horrible because he did good. Liv Schreiber gave one of the best performances as Sabretooth I have ever seen. But the movie still sucked. Okay, now Fantastic Four. Oh my God, that was probably worse than Daredevil and X-Men Origins Wolverine. They took all of the stuff. The director was even in tears and said they took out all of the best parts of the movie. The people in the cutting room, they took out all the best parts and left it. You only had 5 minutes of action, and that was in the last 5 minutes of the movie. And then you killed off your antagonist. You killed off the villain of Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom. You killed him off, okay, in the movie where he was created. Now, how anybody would think that makes sense for a movie, especially if you want to make sequels, I don't get it. It's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, and it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I almost fell asleep halfway through the movie because they took almost all the movie. They used that time to build up to the main fight, which was only 5 minutes, and then you kill off Dr. Doom. But then again, you're idiots. Okay. Now, on to the next thing. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Okay. Games. Time to go to the game segment of Nerd Talk. I'm looking forward to some games. They're supposed to be coming out with Last of Us 2. I love the first one. Last of Us was a great PlayStation game. Okay, it was awesome. Great story. Well done. Gave my wife some nightmares. But either way it goes, it was a great game. I enjoyed it. In my opinion, the 2 best PlayStation games. PlayStation 4 games. One being Spider-Man. That was a great game. Spider-Man's great. I played it, and I played it repeatedly, and I beat it repeatedly. The only thing I haven't beat completely is the DLC. I mean, like I said, great game. And then the next has to be God of War. I enjoyed it. The new God of War game, it was great. It was insane. The ending was, in my opinion, was a little anticlimactic, but it happens. Now, okay, they build up. I'm guessing the reason it was anticlimactic was because it was made to leave it that way for like a sequel to the game. So there's that. I I know Spider-Man game's going to get a sequel, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, that reminds me, E3 is coming up. I'm happy about certain things, and then I'm not so happy. Let's go ahead and focus on the stuff that I'm happy for. Xbox is doing their E3 like they do every year. Their little expo every year. Okay? Now, I'm happy because I have an Xbox One. And it's kind of bittersweet because after this E3, after this round of Xbox One games, I plan to get a PlayStation 5, so I'm not going to get an Xbox One right away. So, of the next Xbox right away. So, there's that. I love Xbox One. I do. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. There are some things coming out for it that I'm looking forward to. One being the new Gears of War game that's coming out. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Oh, the new Avengers game. Supposed to be revealed at E3. So I'm looking forward to that. They'll probably announce some more DLC for Sea of Thieves. So there's that. Supposedly we're supposed to be getting a reveal for the next Fable game. So there's that. I'm looking forward to that because I'm a huge Fable fan. I'm a little upset because I have this feeling they're going to announce something similar to an Alan Wake game. Okay. I'm not going to have the next Xbox, so probably won't get the next Alan Wake game if they come out with one. One is here lately, they've been talking a lot about Alan Wake via YouTube and stuff. But I don't know. It's like they've been teasing it. I just get this feeling. So there's that. I'm looking forward to that. The thing I'm not looking forward to is the fact that there's not going to be the one time I get a PlayStation 4, and they're not even going to announce anything for PlayStation at E3. So I'm a little disappointed about that. But I'll get over it. I always watch E3. I look forward to it every year. Let's see. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to go do something. Okay, here's the next point I talk. Okay, next one. Now, this is the part that annoys a lot of my friends. So, if you aren't a fan of it, I don't know why you're on Nerd Talk if you're not. It's going to be comic book related. So, because you can't have Nerd Talk without comic book stuff. Okay, DC Universe app. I've been watching DC Universe, been doing that stuff. Great app. I enjoy it tremendously. Okay, I've been watching Doom Patrol. I haven't seen the final episode for the first season of Doom Patrol, so I'm going to be watching that at some point. I look forward to that. The 31st, which is Friday, they're going to be debuting Swamp Thing. I'm looking forward to that. Been watching the trailer. Been watching all the trailers for it. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be good. I don't know. James Wan is directing it. Now, if you don't know who James Wan is, he's the guy who directs. Hold on, let me make sure I'm correct before I start spouting off stuff that isn't true. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. But let me check it up real quick. James Wan. I'm looking him up at the moment. Okay. Okay. Okay, now, if I'm correct. Now, I think I got it right. Okay. Filmography. Okay, so. That's weird. I was for certain it was him that did it. Hold on. Let's go to Swamp Thing. Let's see if I'm right. Okay. It is a horror. Okay, so we know that. Let's go to the TV series. I'm going to see who directed it. Because I'm pretty sure I'm right who's directing. Director. James Wan. He's an executive producer and I guess director. Now, I was right. James Wan. He's the guy who, okay, back to, if you don't know him very much. He did Saw 2, Saw 3. Okay. He did Dead Silence. If I'm right, I've seen that movie, so it's pretty good. He did Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6. Wait, I think. Okay. Director, okay. He directed Saw .5. Okay. He directed Saw. He was the executive producer for Saw 2, Saw 3. Okay, and Saw 4. Okay, Saw 5, he didn't direct. Saw 6, he didn't direct. He was the executive producer. He's the executive producer for Saw 3D, but he directed Insidious. He's the one that does the Annabelle, the Conjuring movies. So, well, he didn't do Annabelle. He produced, but he did like Insidious and all that. So it's interesting. I mean, he had his hands in like all of these horror things. So I'm looking forward to Swamp Thing. Okay, he didn't direct it. He's executive producer for it. So it should be good. That means that he wrote it for the movie. He wrote the script for the movie. So it was his idea. He produced it. And he gets somebody else to direct it. So it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. After Doom Patrol, after I finish that, me and my wife's gonna watch Titans. So I'm looking forward to that. But everything works out thus far, so. Ow. My chest hurts. Anyways. So that's coming. Let me go ahead and talk about new things to the DC Universe app. I mean, y'all might not be too. I would advise getting it because if you're a nerd and you like comic book stuff, and like Batman, Superman, anything DC related, it's got great material. Okay. I mean, yes, half the stuff that's on the DC Universe app you could probably get for on DVD and not have to worry. But the point is, it's got pretty good stuff. Okay, Swamp Thing's coming out on the 31st. They have Doom Patrol. Let's see. Young Justice. They have comic books. Now, I'm going to go ahead and advise which comic book I think is good to read. I'm in the process of reading, let's see, what is it? Let's go to my profile. Lists. Okay, Batman reading list. I got 2 items in there. Batman 2016. I'm looking forward to reading that when I get the chance. But right now, it's Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. It's got 220 books to it. If you want to sit down and read a good series, I suggest reading Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. Now, the point being, they have some groundbreaking stories. Let me go into it. I'll read them. Some of these I haven't even read. A lot of them I haven't even read. They have like Shaman, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Where's it at? Venom. Okay. That would be the first one, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. The first part of Venom of that one is issue 16 of Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. Now, let me read a synopsis of it. The 5-part fan favorite Venom storyline begins here when a failed mission causes Batman to question his physical abilities. He's introduced to a new chemical alternative. But once he swallows the drug, Batman finds himself on a dangerous path between who he is and the monster he could become. That, once again, shows that even as a lot of people forget that as good as Batman is, I mean, he beat Superman. I'm a huge Superman fan. See, I've got Superman tattooed under my arm. Okay, and I'll be the first to admit that Batman can beat Superman. For one main reason, Batman uses his brain. Okay, not his brawn. Okay, he has brawn, but he also has this. Whereas Superman usually uses his brawn, So there's that. And we sometimes forget that Batman is human like all of us. And he makes mistakes. He falls. But it's like his father said in the comic book continuity. It's not when he was a kid when you see him in flashbacks. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. Okay, and that's something Batman always does. He gets back up. He prevails because he cannot afford to lose. Okay? And, there's that. So I suggest reading that. I'm going to read more comic books, and then each time I do one of these, I'll tell you what I think would be great for reading. We got a few more minutes left. Anybody got any questions? If anyone's on, anybody got any questions? No questions? Okay. Now, I will say this. The one thing I wanted to talk about, there's a discussion, age-old dispute that goes on. It's like, what is better, Star Trek or Star Wars? Okay, I want to go ahead and nip this in the bud. Okay, because I'm pretty sure at some point down the line in an episode of Nerd Talk in the future, that's going to be brought up. Okay, me, I believe, and this is just me, it doesn't really matter. Okay, Star Trek is good. Star Wars is good. I love watching them both. Okay, Star Trek probably seems more realistic than Star Wars. The whole venture in space, finding new planets to discover. The guns. Okay. Hey there. Star Wars. Okay. Well, I guess we'll keep this going a little bit. Right. Yeah. It does, but I mean, I like them both. And how's it going, Chase and Caleb? Welcome. Now, welcome to the inaugural episode of Nerd Talk. And so Star Wars. If you think Star Wars is better, each to your own opinion. I like them both. They're pretty good. Star Trek is more into. It seems more realistic. Star Wars, it's great. You got the lightsabers. You got the blasters. Do I have my nerd card? You know, I wish I did. I do have a nerd card, but it's at the house. So, some Jack sauce, nice. Jack in the Box, nice. That's good. Okay, up next, let's segue back into Batman. Okay, the whole thing. Here's a discussion, debate that people's going on. The Red Hood. Okay, formerly known, it's Jason Todd. Okay. Oh, you never heard of Star Trek, huh? So Jason Todd was Robin. He was the second Robin. Batman took him under his wing, did that. I said Batman, but okay. Jason Todd gets killed by the Joker, becomes the Red Hood, and all. Is Batman to blame for him? Is Batman to blame for Jason Todd ultimately ending up like Red Hood? Yes or no? I didn't say Bagman, Chase. Huh. Batman's perfectly innocent. Well, let's take a roll. Batman takes a kid, probably 12, okay, to become Robin. And, you know, he's young, impressionable. Well, Jason Todd wasn't really a bad guy. That's the thing. He gets killed by Joker because, okay, Chase, why do you believe Batman is to blame ultimately for Jason Todd becoming Red Hood? Well, we've reached the hour mark. This has been going for an hour. Okay, Jason Todd. He was the second Robin. Okay, he died. I was planning on it, but I don't know. I gotta get up pretty early to get up to training for Saturday. Okay, so Dick Grayson. He was part of the Flying Grayson Circus Act, High Wire Act. He left and became Nightwing. Well, they got Jason Todd. He ends up getting Jason Todd to replace Dick Grayson. And Jason Todd, when he was a kid, stripped the wheels off of the Batmobile. And, Batman decided, I'll take him under my wing and make him Robin. Well, Robin gets killed by Joker. And Ra's al Ghul puts Jason Todd in the Lazarus Pit. If you go by the cartoon movie, but whereas in the comic book actuality continuity, it's Talia al Ghul that puts him into the Lazarus Pit, and he comes back and he becomes Red Hood, hell bent on killing bad guys, all while doing bad himself, while trying to control the crime. And he goes head to head with Batman. So, yes or no, is Batman to blame for Jason Todd becoming Red Hood? I'm going to have to wrap up the show. My wife believes he's not fully to blame, but he is to blame for it. Because he's like, why take a kid and have him fight crime? Of course, that's going to mess with the guy's head, because seeing all that crime and stuff, instead of having a normal life, so she thinks Batman is partly to blame because he could have waited until he was more mature as an adult, instead of automatically making him Robin when he was a kid and taking him out to fight crime. So in that aspect, Batman is to blame, I guess. It's like I said, we keep forgetting with how, I'm going to say it, badass Batman is, and the fact that he's facing all of these, like Joker and Bane, who's like really muscular, and then you have Ra's al Ghul, who has powers and all sorts of stuff. We keep forgetting that Batman is human. Point blank, Batman's human. He's like us. Okay, he bleeds. Okay, he gets broken ribs. He can withstand pain a little better than we can, but he gets separated shoulders. He gets concussions. He can be killed like me and you. So, because of all the extraordinary things Batman does, we keep forgetting that he's only human, and humans make mistakes. And I guess that can be summed up into that, and that he made a mistake. He made a choice. And Batman, as always, lives with his choices, okay? Whether they're right or wrong, he lives with them. So, it's just one of those things. It's the classic scenario. What should he have done? What shouldn't he have done? I guess we forget all that stuff. But you know, I want to thank. Oh, look at the time. We're gonna have to wrap up. I want to thank everybody who took time out to join me in tonight's episode in this inaugural episode of Nerd Talk. And for the people who's watching it after it's already aired, I want to thank y'all for taking y'all's time out to watch this video. I will be back with another episode of Nerd Talk probably next week. So, you know, I have to go. I have things I got to do. I got to get myself mentally prepared for Saturday. So there's that. Either way it goes, thank you very much for joining in. And please tune in next week for another episode of Nerd Talk. Thank you very much. And as always, please sleep well and have lots of nerd dreams. Peace out.